Oh, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 659 of FloWrestling Radio Live. I'm your host, Christian Piles, joined today by David, Duncan, Bray, Douglas, and Ben Funky Askren. Our man JD Raider is on the road. He is, I don't even know where he is right now. He's on assignment.
Well, I saw him at Cadet Duels, so we have a location. He was in Indiana. As of Sunday. So I don't know where he is today, but he was there then.
Yeah, he's headed to Junior Duels, and he's hitting a couple schools along the way.
Yeah,
he told me Purdue, Illinois, Missouri. Did I forget somebody?
That's that. And then he also stopped by, hung out with Jesse Mendez for a little bit, got some stuff with him.
That.
Yeah, good interview with him. We'll check that out if you haven't got to yet. Check in with the number one recruit for the upcoming class. But before we get into all that and JD's whereabouts, which are unknown at this point in time, at this point you could probably all know by now that the Jordan Burroughs versus Isaiah Martinez match is off. It was going to be this Friday, and it's been canceled. And it's been canceled for a reason I never, ever would have predicted or expected, because Imar began to let us know kind of earlier last week that he didn't think he was going to be able to make the weight. And then some back and forth ensued, and he eventually let us know he wouldn't be able to make the weight and that it wasn't going to work out. He wasn't going to be able to wrestle. And I'm flabbergasted that happened. That would be a reason. This match was, a big deal and a big opportunity for Isaiah financially and otherwise. And so I was surprised that it got to that point that the match isn't happening. And people are asking, hey, would we, people want to know, were we going to see this match? They got excited about the match. Are we going to do it? And I would never say never, and I hope we do see them wrestle at some point, but I personally can't see Flo signing up for that again. Not anytime soon, not knowing just kind of how all this transpired. It's tough to say, hey, let's have 25 different people work on this thing, and then just 1 week out, then it's not happening. And I know Imar doesn't feel good about what happened, and he apologized yesterday. But I do want to sort of, I thought his tweet was, I liked some of it, but I thought it was a little confusing, and it confused me a little bit.
Very confusing.
Okay, so you were confused, Ben. So I was confused too, because I know.
I knew what the real story was, and then I read this, and that was why it was confusing.
Yeah, I didn't like that he made it sound like this was Jordan's decision in any way, because that's just not the case. Imar said he couldn't make 79. That was the agreed upon weight, right? And then
hey, let me ask you this. Okay, so he did make 79 in Iowa City. We know that for senior nationals, which was
plus 2
6 weeks ago. Yep. Oh, okay. So plus 2, 6 weeks ago.
Right.
He was within 4 pounds. How long ago were you guys talking about this match? Because I want to say you guys announced it like 3 weeks ago, but I'm sure there was negotiations well prior to that. How long was that going on for? So how long had he known that it was going to be June 19th? He was going to make 79 kg.
So it was basically a done deal before senior nationals.
Okay, so very, very.
And it was signed, I think, the next week, right after senior nationals. Okay. So Isaiah said he couldn't make 79. And then he also said he couldn't make plus 2. So at that point, it was like, okay, there's just not going to be a match.
Yeah.
So if you,
I don't understand the baby shower. I mean, baby showers feel good and all. I had a couple of them. I made a few babies. But I mean, they last like 2 hours. They don't last that long. You can eat some cake, then you go on a run afterwards. There's no problem.
It was in California. It wasn't in Oregon, so it was disruptive.
So you get the plane flight from California to Oregon. I don't know. It's not that far. It's like what, maybe an hour flight.
They drove. I mean, I know all the. I don't know, man. I don't ask me to make sense of it. I don't understand it.
Okay. I'm gonna get the distance here. So we're sure on what we're talking about here. I don't want to be.
Ben wants to map quest it. Corvallis
I'm
to Fresno.
freaking mapping it right now. Corvallis to Fresno. Oh shit! Why would you drive that? That's a terrible idea. You fly into San Francisco, you drive a little bit, no problem. Yeah, I don't know why they wanted to drive. That sounds like a terrible idea. And you knew 6 weeks ago that was the plan. And hey, life's full of tough decisions as an adult. So if you committed to a match on June 19, you got to figure that out. And listen, I don't know what his paycheck was. I'm not asking you guys that information, but I can damn well guess his paycheck was greater than the price of a flight for him and his wife to Fresno, California.
Yeah. So, that's an understatement. So, and there's some, I think, some questions from you guys that I kind of like bumped up in the doc because while we're talking about it, let's talk about it. And people comparing the Burroughs Zahid and Burroughs DT matches and saying, well, what's the difference here? Well, the difference here is very obvious that the Burroughs DT match was the agreed upon weight was 86. And Jordan knew, okay, I can be up and big for this weight and then I'll work on coming down. Same thing with Zahid. That was the agreed upon weight, 185. The agreed upon weight was 86. It wasn't decided a week less. Actually, this was going on still Saturday. It was Saturday before we said match off, 100% done. So that's the main difference, right? And I don't know this, but I would assume that Jordan is already on the descent down to 79. This could be a 79 kilogram debut. So for him to be, doing that and then to say, okay, now it's changed the weight, I can understand why. It doesn't make sense to me to change the weights a week out. And that's, what tournament in wrestling, what event in wrestling can you, you can't do that in a high school match. You can't do that in college. You can't do that in any senior level event ever. Why it would be assumed.
Sometimes it has happened a couple times in the UFC.
In the UFC.
A couple times. Not a lot. Not a lot. It's happened a couple times.
And honestly, I think it's crazy when the UFC lets the guys blow weight big time, miss it by 15, 20 pounds, and still lets them fight. I think that's crazy. I don't think they should get any money if they do that, personally.
Yeah, it's actually, and it's really stupid because like a famous one that I'll bring up. Thiago Alves fought Matt Hughes and ended up knocking him out. Everyone remembers that knockout, really famous. And at that time, it was really important towards Thiago Alves got a title shot shortly after that. Thiago Alves missed weight by 7 pounds. 7 freaking pounds. Like, do you realize what type of effect that's going to have on your performance if you have to lose 7 more pounds the day previous?
Yeah, tremendous.
The effect on your performance is going to be immense. So, yeah, it is very rare. Has happened a couple times, but yeah, to your point, it's usually a bad idea when people let people miss weight by that much.
Yes. The other thing too, if you're comparing the Zahid match and the David Taylor match, that was the challenge for JB. It was like, I am going to go up to this other guy's weight. I'm going to try to test myself at this bigger weight. That's the whole point. You think about this match with Aymar. Jordan Burroughs, the way he thinks about his career right now is he's comparing himself to the greats, not just in wrestling, but other sports. He's looking at, somebody like Tom Brady who's won 7 titles over the course of 19 years. And that's like the way he thinks about himself. And so the task now is get to 79, win a world title in 21, 22, 23, keep winning those titles. And Aymar is the guy that has been closest to him at this weight. So wrestling him at this weight's important. It would be the first feel in 2021 of, potentially a best 2 out of 3 series. Who knows? But that's a very different kind of challenge, taking on somebody in your weight class at the weight because that person has proven to be a threat to you in the past. Then, all right, I'm going to test myself in an exhibition and go up and wrestle somebody at their weight. It's just a very different thing. Yeah.
And, we wanted to do something a little different for this event, right? We were putting it at the end of a Flow Grappling Who's Number One card, which, I'll admit I am super jealous of what Flow Grappling has been able to create for their side. They have Who's Number One. It is by far the number one super fight card going in the sport. It has changed the sport. Joe Rogan is talking about this event. He is coming to this event. We've got all this this regularity. They have that once a month. They're having these awesome cards, and I want that for wrestling. And I wanted the grappling community to see this match, and I wanted them to say, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing," and them become us to grow that wrestling viewing audience. Because I think it would have been, this would probably be the most viewed Hughes #1 ever on grappling, and the Flow grappling is absolutely exploding right now. So I thought it'd be incredible for them to see this display, the best display of wrestling in the world. And so that's not going to happen is disappointing. And my goals and Flow's goals for professionalizing wrestling, a sport that has not really been professionalized truly, it still remains a goal. But it's tougher when, for whatever reason, it's not taken seriously. But this is really serious to us, and we invest a lot on the front end for these, and we're going to continue to. And another thing, here's my vision. Here's what I want. Right? I want monthly huge events that people are really excited for, like they are in grappling. And grappling is going to have, this is incredible, and I can't wait for this, and I want to do this in wrestling. They're going to have a 5-bracket super event with over $250K in payout for
grappling is?
Yes. It's the biggest yes, the biggest payout in the history of the sport. And so we're going to do that. And I want that for wrestling, right? And they've been able to build it and grow it, and they're going to have that this September. So I encourage you guys to check some of that out. But that's what I want to do in wrestling. That's what we want to do in wrestling. I hope we can do it. This is, we'll get Jordan another match at some point when it makes sense. And I think that's that.
Yeah.
Ben, I'm curious for that's kind of my piece, but curious for anything you would like to add or whatever.
No, I mean, I just obviously there's people in wrestling that I would have kind of seen this coming from. Isaiah wasn't one of them. I always thought he was super mature, disciplined, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know what happened. I'm not in his everyday life. No idea. But obviously he blew a huge opportunity for himself. It's really unfortunate. It sucks for everybody. And one of the things that we've seen with wrestlers, and we'll assume we could go back to MMA, is people miss weight, and when they miss weight, they miss by a lot. Like in wrestling, if you miss weight by 1/10 of a pound, you're not competing, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're out. And when MMA people miss weight, it's by 3 pounds, 5 pounds, 7 pounds, 10. We've seen as much as 10 pounds, right? And that just doesn't ever happen in wrestling. So to see someone have this many issues at a weight class that they were 4 pounds above 7 weeks ago, it's honestly, it's kind of shocking. It really is.
And that was one thing I wanted to say and meant to say is that what I know about Imar is this just makes no sense, right? I feel like he is a guy who has represented himself so well throughout his entire career. So I feel like, man, you just kind of throw this out. It's like, I don't know if mulligan's the right term, but he's a good dude, a solid dude, a great wrestler, someone who has dedicated his life to the level of excellence he's achieved. So I just, I don't think less of him as a person. Just an unfortunate thing that happened.
Cool. Yeah, and then kind of to add on to that is just like, you guys brought up the factor of this is very likely going to be number 1, number 2 for the 79 kg spot this year. And so if you knew you were going to have this match, there's obviously, I always tell kids, there's making weight and there's making weight effectively. Right? Mm-hmm. Anyone can make a weight, but that doesn't mean that they can wrestle well after that. And so, especially with these new weigh-in rules where you have an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours to make weight and then compete, just like the college level, it's really important that you're not cutting a high level of water weight. Because if you are, you're not going to compete well. And so it's like, man, you would have thought that this weight descent plan would have started many weeks ago for him. Because your body can only shrink at a certain rate, right? I can lose 15 pounds of water weight in the course of 24 hours if I need to.
Right.
But body weight, like what I weigh on an everyday basis, I can maybe lose, I don't know, 2 to 3 pounds per week. Like it's not going to be much more than that. And so if he was going to bring himself down to, and I'm thinking if I'm competing in the 2 to 3 hour weigh-in, probably max water weight that I want to lose is 4 to 6 pounds is kind of what I would be thinking. And that means I got to bring my weight down really early. It means I got to start getting down to where I want to walk around at. And so, the fact that he had kind of, postponed that process, I don't know what you call it, or delayed that process, and maybe it just didn't come off as easy as he thought it was going to do. Maybe that's why. Maybe he could still make weight, but he's going to compete terrible. And so he decided, okay, maybe this isn't something I want to do. That's obviously not super honorable, but maybe that's what he decided was best for him. Because there's sometimes where your body weight doesn't come off as fast as you want it to. So maybe it was one of those. I really don't know. I'm not inside. I wish I had more information.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. For sure. I just more or less just wanted to clarify, just based on that tweet, that the only reason this match isn't happening is because Imar can't make the weight, and that was a decision he made. Okay. David had a pretty cool thing he wanted to chat about with you, Ben. So why don't you key it up here, Dave?
It's June 15, so it's the first day that 2023 recruits can be contacted, and we've got a guy here on the line who you were recruited. You went through that process. So what should these kids be expecting today? The first day coaches can call. What was your experience like, and what would you tell a 2023 recruit on June 15?
Well, I got no calls. It was July 1st in my era. I got no calls. How depressing.
Back in his day, June 15th was in July.
Back in your did you?
How old Ben is.
Shut up.
Did you think you were gonna get calls?
I was definitely hoping I did. I mean, I won 2 state titles at them. I hadn't had any national level success, but I was thinking I would get a few calls, but I did not. Brian Smith will allegedly called me. I don't think he did.
No voicemail. Was the tape full?
I had a cell phone back then.
What? What a baller.
Yeah, 2000 and what's that? 2001. Yeah, it was one of those little. I mean, you couldn't text or nothing, right? It was just like a little. Yeah. Okay. No, I think Nokia maybe. Yeah. I mean, listen. I'm hoping that these college coaches are hustling today, and they're getting all their calls in. They're calling as many people as they can. I mean, I know one of the things that I would do if I was a college coach right now is I would call a wide plethora of people. And I would make no commitments whatsoever because we got Fargo. It's a month away. And, I hate this. I hate that people can call, college coaches can call athletes so early. So the other thing was when I was in high school, it was July 1st after your junior year, not after your sophomore year. So, I would start, if I was a college coach, I'd start making contact with all these kids, but I would kind of start, waiting to see how their careers played out before I really started to lock them in. We have Fargo that's a month away. Obviously, you'll have some Super 32 and some other stuff in the fall, so you'll kind of get a better idea of the direction their career is headed. And for the kids, honestly, I would say, hey, if who you want doesn't call you today, don't be disappointed. They didn't call me either, but you can make some noise in Fargo in a month or this fall, and all can be rectified.
What kinds of conversations do you have with the AWA kids when it's beginning of recruiting season for them?
You know what? I don't really even get into it. If they know if they start talking to coaches or they want to get further into that process, that I'll help them. And then, if I'm mostly a bullshit detector, and that a lot more kids need that because a lot of college coaches will tell these guys things that are completely off base or untrue, and so they can come to me and say, well, hey, this is what this coach said, and I'll say, hey, that's garbage. That's not true. Don't listen to that. And my biggest advice for kids, which has been my main point of why I hated this extended dead period, is go see it. Go get a feel for it. I think for me, I went to Mizzou. I loved it. I hit it off with the team. I hit it off with the coaches. I loved the town. That was what did it for me. And so, kids, like, especially in the summer after Fargo, hey, if you have 3 or 4 places that you're thinking about, go visit some of them, right? Get out there and see them. Go do a camp there. Go do those type of things. Like, get in person with people. I think that's really, really important.
Yeah, I think one of the main things that you've kind of emphasized here and that I've kind of learned just through following the recruiting process is, like, the timelines and the deadlines aren't as real as the coaches may make them feel to the kids.
That annoys me so hard, Christian.
Yeah.
It annoys me so bad.
So I think if you're a sophomore, rising junior, and you're getting some, hey, we need this or the whatever, the hardball kind of games we're gonna play, they're not real. And especially if you're someone like a top level recruit, like a Gabe Arnold, a Cody Chittum, et cetera, you have the leverage, right? Not them.
Yes, you have the leverage.
Don't let them trick you into thinking you. Now, if you're a now to say that, Ben, that is not true for all wrestlers.
Yes.
Right?
Well, but I would disagree. I and this is my theory. Bet on the house. Bet on the house every time. So it's like if they say, "Hey, here's 20% or here's 10%, take it or leave it in the next 10 days." I'll tell my guy, leave it. Go do well at the next tournament, and guess what? I bet they come back. I bet the offer's more than 20%, and I bet you got more than 10 days to decide. So bet on the house. Like, if you really think you're that good, if you individual think you're that good, then go prove it. Let's give it time. Don't take the shit offer that's on the table. Give some time, and then wait for a better offer to come around. And even then, if it doesn't come around, still bet on the house. Go where you want to go. Walk on, and if you do the things you think you're going to do, they're going to give you money as your career goes on. I mean, that's a really important one that kids don't recognize. Is like, you can get more money. Like, when you're at college and you do well, they're going to start bumping you up. They're going to start giving you scholarship money. A lot of kids don't even recognize that.
Yeah, that I agree with. But I do think the power recruits do have the leverage, and to your point, the other guys can raise their stock, but sometimes your stock is your stock, and your performance is sort of your performance. But the other thing is, man, there's a lot of places you can win, right? And there's a lot of places you can get a degree. So don't fall in love with the idea of, I really want. You can make it work a lot of different places. Bryce Meredith was at NC State. He was. He probably would have done great at NC State but they had Kevin Jack. Kevin Jack was a All-American. Bryce couldn't make 133, and so he transferred to Wyoming back home, and he was great there, and he would have been great at NC State, but for what he was trying to do, and then it worked out awesome for Bryce, and so there's a lot of places you can have success, and And Bryce is a perfect example of someone who raised his own stock.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah. So that would be one where we would say, like, don't be in love with the power programs, right? Like, know that you can go other places. And so if X power program is offering you 20% and another program is offering you 100%. Now listen, I won't throw it under the bus. There are some programs that I think they suck, and I would say, like, if I were you, I wouldn't go there.
Yes.
Wouldn't do it. Right? But there's other programs that are smaller that I think are outstanding. And if they're giving you 80%, just because they're a small school and big school is recruiting and giving you 20% or whatever, 30%, the small school might be a great option. It might be a really good option. So you go check that out. And if you go there and you love it and you get along with the coaches, you get along with the team, go there for sure. 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, that was Mizzou when I went there. Mizzou was not a power program when I committed there. I loved it. I loved the coaches. I loved the athletes. Loved the town, and I went there. And it was like, obviously, there were other. I wasn't being recruited by any Tier 1 programs, but I was being recruited by programs that were better than Missouri. And so I was obviously willing to take the chance on someone smaller. And I think that's, like you made the point, Christian, don't get in love with the power programs.
It's a day that, a lot of kids, I'm sure, and parents have had circled on the calendar, so it's helpful to get that perspective. Man, yeah, I'm sure a lot of these kids have been like stressing and wondering who's going to call and what that's going to be like for a few weeks. So speaking of Gabe Arnold, his dad told me kind of a wild story that over the weekend he was out on a jet ski and his phone ended up in the bottom of a lake. So he's like, he's freaking out. Because he's like, nobody's going to be able to call me. Like, the coaches won't be able to get a hold of me because our phone's at the bottom of the lake. But I think they figured it out. That would be a bad feeling.
It'd be a bad feeling, but you know what? It's who's going to be most stressed about that when it goes straight to voicemails? The coach.
Yeah.
Gabe doesn't need to be stressed about that.
Yeah.
Gabe's going to have plenty of options from now to the next year and the year after that. He's got till November of what year? When's National Site?
2023?
November of 2023.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's a class of 20. Or no, it'd be 22, wouldn't it?
22, yeah, 22. Sorry.
Because his 22-23 season. So,
Yeah.
you know, you got a lot of time to
Yes.
make this decision.
100%. And I wish we had a breaking news jingle on this show.
Dun, dun, dun. When we did our
Uh-oh. What breaking news do we have? Do we have breaking
Bra-
news?
Yeah, Kyle Brackey just he's speaking from beyond the grave.
he's getting is he speaking from Gabe Arnold's cell phone in the bottom of the lake?
He's speaking from the bottom of the lake. Matt Ramos in the transfer portal.
Okay.
Interesting.
Wow. We kind of talked about that because he's been having some decent freestyle results, but obviously we were like, okay, he's probably not going to see the light of day beyond Patrick McKee at 125. That's great.
Yeah, I mean, somebody's 125 is a weight that where a lot of programs have a need. That's a really interesting guy to be looking at.
Yeah, and that was he was a commit when he committed. I was like, how does he fit in the lineup? Because they had Pat McKee or McKee came after. I forget the order of operations there, but that was a little surprising. But he's interesting because his freestyle results are better than his folk style results by a pretty wide margin. But career
Well, I don't
25.
feel like he had very few folk style matches this year, right?
I don't think so because really, unless you were a starter, you didn't get many opportunities.
Yeah. So I mean, he had literally. Wait, Christian, he's had 0 folk style matches in any year.
Yes, so he still has the opportunity to go completely undefeated for his career.
So we don't know how good he is. So you said his freestyle results are better, and his freestyle results are good, but we don't know how bad his folk style results are because we don't have any of them.
That is a good point. I didn't realize he wrestled 0 matches ever.
0.
He's
Ever.
got 4 years left. It looks like it was a medical year in 2020, and then this year didn't count. So
My man's 3 years into college and hasn't burned a year of eligibility. He must be some type of damn genius.
yeah,
Man,
so and that could be a massive pickup.
holy
real.
cow.
Yeah.
Who could use a 25 pounder?
Who could do this with him?
Mini schools.
How about Penn State?
So I was thinking, but they've got Robbie, and I think
Steen.
Robbie's a career 25. And they've got Gary Steen. So I don't think it's a true weight of need, especially when he's sort of an unknown quantity at folk style, right? So I don't know that he's a huge upgrade. Yeah, it'd be interesting.
I'm gonna pull up the team rankings to just kind of get a sense because it feels
Who
like
else
a
is
weight where a lot of
25?
programs could use somebody.
It's hard to get a 25.
Yeah.
Ohio State.
Yeah, maybe.
Like, can he beat
Malik?
Malik? He can't beat Malik. I mean,
Can't beat
maybe he
Malik.
could,
It's
but
really similar
Yeah, I
like
think so.
recruit to
how,
Malik.
how much of an upgrade?
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
Cornell needs another 125. They only have like 3 legitimate NCAA qualifiers.
That's funny.
I mean, somebody like Iowa State maybe.
Yeah, I could see that. Ooh, that feels Iowa Statey. I could see.
Feels
I
Iowa
see-
State.
I could see Dresser getting on the horn.
Somebody, yeah,
It does feel a little bit Iowa Statey, huh?
Yes.
Think so.
Okay. So interesting stuff on the recruiting front. I guess we haven't mentioned yet that Evan Wick is coming on in around 30 minutes to announce his school choice.
Hey.
We know that it is down to 2 schools, Cal Poly and Penn State.
arch rivals.
Our rivals, Costco's rivalry. So yeah, a lot of people think they know where he's going, which I don't know why they think that, because they don't know.
Do a lot of people who think they know where he's going think he's going to 2 different places? Are they sure both ways?
Yeah, they.
Some people are sure it's Cal
question.
Poly. Other people.
Everyone
are sure
seems to be sure he's going to one place.
What are the people saying?
They think he's going to Penn State, and it's like a done deal.
Huh? I mean, I know.
Including a lot of people in the Facebook chat. They're like, old news. It's
Makes a lot of
the
sense.
news linked. It does make, if he goes there, yeah, sure. But there's a reason he's announcing his decision, because the decision's not.
because he hasn't announced it yet.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Yes.
that would be.
And as of, I mean, I will tell you, as of yesterday when I talked to him, I may or may not know the answer now. But when I asked him yesterday, in the morning, he did not know. He didn't know the answer. So
Well, that goes counter to A.D. Williams, who said the word's been out for a few days now. So
that is not true.
So
'Cause
Evan should talk to A.D.
He should, check with AD, figure out where he's going.
Maybe A.D. is an athletic director.
He's only got 29 minutes to figure it
He
out.
only got 29 minutes.
We also didn't talk about the cadet duels at all, which, I was coaching my team, so I don't know what other results that we can talk about, but that is such a fun tournament. I missed it. I haven't been, I went to the junior duels a few times, but I don't think I've been to cadet duels in, I don't know, a whole bunch of years. That's such an awesome tournament. I had a blast there.
Yeah, how did
Was
it
there
go?
any good results?
I didn't get to watch. It was actually, we live streamed it on Track Wrestling. We still haven't moved all the events over. Eventually, they'll all come over to Flow. So I didn't get to check it out. I had some family in town, but
Okay.
I'm sure Bray and Ben, you were there coaching. Any big takeaways?
Yeah, JD. Well, JD was there. Well, so that's what I said. I was so busy coaching my own team that I didn't get to see. It's unfortunate. I realized why they bracket the way they bracket, and so every team gets a set amount of matches, which is 8. But it kind of it sucked for we were 7-1, and we didn't have none of our wins were closer than 25 points, but we had a 2-point loss to Pennsylvania, and then they lost, so we didn't get to advance to the championship pool, unfortunately. So that was so we took 9th place. That was unfortunate. But so I didn't get to watch, right? So we were on the one side, the 9 through 16. I could see the 1 through 8, and there was a whole bunch of good matches going on between Ohio and New Jersey and Pennsylvania and all those teams, but I didn't necessarily get to watch them all that closely, which is why I was asking you guys.
My only time at cadet duels was fun. It was at Daytona Beach, and they had the cadet duels and the Greco World Team Trials going on
Oh, I
at the
remember that.
same time. It was sort of strange, and it was really fun. And Illinois dominated, and they were they literally would just come out and maybe I would say 60 to 80% of their team would just come out 2-on-1 guys, and they would just work off that. And they would just destroy people with the same thing. It was they had this system. And then you had guys like Kamal Bay. And do you remember Alan Stallings, Ben?
Alan Stallings, I don't remember him.
You should look this dude up. He went to Oak Park, I believe.
Really? So I remember. I mean, I've been following Oak Park for quite a while. I do not remember that guy.
The end of his career, I don't know if he ended up wrestling or if he got injured or whatever. But if you saw this dude at Cadet Duels, you'd be like, let me see the birth certificate. This dude was so big and strong. He just destroyed everyone. And then you had Kamal Bay there, who was, I mean, it was really funny. He was just so much better than all these guys. But yeah, look up Alan Stallings. He was a bad dude. Very, very good wrestler. Would have liked to have seen what he could have done at the next level.
I'll check it out.
But yeah, Illinois was filthy. So who ended up winning?
Ohio. And
Ohio won, yeah.
Big
They
weekend.
had a really good team. So when JD gets back next week, we can kind of grill him about everything because I wasn't able to watch some of the better matches. But you think that it sucks because we missed this age group last year, but that usually Fargo is their first coming out party, and so a lot of these guys also I didn't really know, but I'm sure they're kind of the best of the best type. We in Wisconsin don't get to wrestle the in-season stuff against the Ohio's and Pennsylvania's and New Jersey's. So I'm really, really looking forward to Fargo. I think it's gonna be awesome. It's 5 weeks away now. Are you going, Christian, or no?
No, because I'm going to Tokyo.
What?
So I'm going to Tokyo I don't know, a week or so later.
Who's
I'll be
going to
there.
Fargo?
I'll be there.
You going?
Spade's
Right.
got to stand in the jankiest hotel I've ever heard of. It's
Y'all,
serious? Where you
listen, they clown on me always for this, but I'm going to say it again. Y'all should just stay at the dorms. The dorms are fine.
No, ew. Are you serious? There's no
Ew.
AC, Christian. You could be sweating your balls off all night long.
the dorms
Oh my
might
gosh.
actually be better than what Spade's got cooked
Yeah.
up for us. Listen to a couple reviews.
what's
I got
it
a couple
called?
reviews.
What's it
It's called
called?
the Baymont Inn and Suites.
Terrible.
All right, here's a review.
look it up.
Tell me what you think about this review. Pool had grim lighting. Hot tub was down. Room was super dirty. Bed had bugs in it. Even towels did. Tub had pubes. And even the blow dryer had old stained blood on it. We left. And I'm having
Wait, the blow dryer had blood on it?
blood on it.
What was it, blunt force
that's
trauma?
so funny.
Would they have a CSI
This is a
kit?
crime scene investigator that stayed there, and so this person was on it.
Okay, so CSI Fargo stayed at the Baymont Inn and realized there was blood on a hairdryer.
The manager, Lloyd, wouldn't even wait on me when I went to retrieve my shirt I left behind. Yet he told me He hates and won't rent to local Fargo people because there's always an issue. So that's not a ringing endorsement.
Well,
Oh,
you're not
man,
local,
that's funny.
so you could be okay.
All right, what about this review? Can't even get the desk to answer the phone to book a room. Last time I stayed there, the night clerk was so high, it was scary. Constant noise and traffic all night long. This place is overrun with drug addicts, and I'm pretty sure the staff is paid off by the dealers.
Dang.
Oh, I got the street view on my Google Maps, and yeah, I think I've seen this place. It's pretty sketch.
Yeah, have fun.
Well, hey, 9 nights in the Baymont Inn and Suites for me. It's gonna be a life-changing experience.
Man, you should have dormed it. The dorms are good. I got clowned on for recommending the dorms, which is a very great economical option.
And probably no blood.
No blood. There's no nothing. There's basically no pillows either. So you can't have a blood stained pillow if there's no pillow.
That's a good point.
And then you eat at the cafeteria. Great food at the cafeteria.
I've heard that's not true.
It is
Listen,
true.
Bray, you guys should make me your travel director. I'd book you in nice hotels. Because, listen, I want a well-rested staff who's going to bring the heat every single day.
Yes.
So I'm not going to put them in the dorms where they're sweating all night just to save a few bucks. I'm not going to put them with the drug dealers where they might get shot. I don't want them fearing for their safety. I'm going to put them in a nice, quality hotel where they get a nice, restful sleep, and they're going to bring the heat the next day.
That sounds
Why did we
great.
not look into an Airbnb or something? Certainly, there's
That's
something
what
in
you should
Fargo.
have done.
Yeah, I could have got a
that's
whole
what you should have done.
farmhouse for.
You get a farmhouse.
You probably could have.
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
Remember
you
when
should
we
look
had
into
that
canceling
really
the Baymont Inn
awesome,
and Suites.
Maybe it's not too late.
Remember when we had that really, really sweet Airbnb in St. Louis and they wouldn't let any media come?
That was epic. What a fun time.
Son of
one gun. That really stunk. We had a sick. Yeah. Next year we're gonna have to go crazy. Wait, is next year Detroit Rock City?
Detroit.
All right, we're gonna go crazy. We're gonna stay at 8 Mile. We're gonna do rap battles. We're gonna watch wrestling.
I bet we get a nice place. We could probably actually buy a place on 8 Mile for the price of an Airbnb.
Maybe we do that. Ben won't. Ben's too.
No, I love Airbnbs. There's actually no Airbnbs in Fargo, North Dakota. I don't. Well, at least for the dates that you want. Sorry, you guys are screwed.
Uh-oh. Well, that's too bad.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I wonder if Team Wisconsin came in there and swooped them all up. They bring a big crew with just AWA
No, we stay
alone.
at, what's that hotel we stay? It's really nice. It's it's in a parking lot by a couple restaurants. There's a grocery store. It's nice quality place. I mean, it's not a four-star hotel, but it's really solid.
Get the job done.
Yeah.
He'll get the job done.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's Bloodstains. That's CSI. Talked about that a little bit. You want to get to some questions and then talk about then we should be about ready for young Evan to come on and make his announcement.
Are you guys worried he's not gonna be able to figure out how to do the VMix?
I'm not worried at all because he's a very smart person.
He's got it.
Got it.
It's about the easy. It's a very easy thing to do. If there's an issue, it'll probably be on our end with something. But yeah, Evan will figure it out.
Whoa, hey, I just saw in the chat. I went to the Facebook chat. Yanni did Bosch's podcast, and he said he's going to wrestle at 70 kg at the World Team Trials.
Ooh.
So does that mean he's going 149? Because if he was going 141, why wouldn't you wrestle 65? Because 65 is a weight that is being contested at the World Team Trials.
Well, that would be the exact same conclusion I would draw.
149.
Wow, interesting.
So it's interesting he's going up to 70. I just figured. Well, I bet he's saying, okay, well, I've beaten James Green every time. He's probably the number one guy. So
Yeah.
I go there, I will beat him. Now, the first response to that would be, well, that's 65 James Green or 70 kilo or 150 pound
Yeah.
68.
James Green. So that would be a big difference.
Yeah.
So, we'll see. But I've just assumed he would be a 65 mainstay
I
for
thought so.
throughout his career. But maybe it's just a one-time thing. Try to get on a
who
team.
knows?
It will be
And
interesting
then,
to see.
They also said in the chat that Stallings went on to play Division I football. So that's why you probably never heard
Oh,
of him.
dang. Wonder where he went.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, look this
Look
dude
it
up.
up.
He was a
Stu
beast.
Stallings. What's his name?
Who's Stallings?
Football.
Oh, this guy right here. He's
He went to Indiana.
beef-
Holy cow.
he's beefy.
Yeah. Is that him? Yeah, there he is.
It's a big
Yep.
man.
He's got the Oak Park singlet on too in this. Defensive lineman. Boom.
Played in all 13 games 2019 as a senior. Man, he's already graduated?
You're old, Christian.
I'm
Get
old.
over it.
I'm old. Holy cow. All right.
So old.
So today and old. All right, question. First question from Roy Dunk. This is very important. Will Aussie Man Strong Boy versus Hasbulla be on the Burroughs IMAR card? Who would win?
Ozzy Man loves fight. Listen, this Hasbulla character, I had to hear a lot about it because we rode in the van with 15 and 16-year-old kids that cadet duels. But I find it to be total. I could not stop laughing the one day I was watching the press conference with those two little dudes. Oh my god, best thing ever! I could watch it all day.
Well, I can't lie and say that I lose a little bit of luster because I have no idea what he's saying. It could be funny, it could be not.
It doesn't matter. The body language on these guys. Oh my! I don't know what they're saying either. I don't care. It's tremendous. I could watch it all day.
All right, so you're in on Hasbulla.
I'm so in.
Is Aussie Man in?
I'm sure. I mean, he doesn't know anything. He's 3 years old, but I'm sure he's in. He loves to fight a little bit.
Aussie Man Strong Boy. When's the last time he referred to himself as Aussie Man Strong Boy?
I don't know, yesterday.
Oh my gosh. You got to get that on video. That's hilarious.
Oh, he does. I mean, he says it every day. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, it's so funny. Kids are hilarious. All right.
Seriously.
EJ Newton, my son and I read Mindset. Thanks for the recommendation, Ben. We'll read another one soon. Any more recommendations would be greatly appreciated. Ben always has books.
I was thinking, I couldn't think of I was trying to think of another really easy one. Okay, I know what it is. I'm blanking on the title. It's by Josh Waitskin. This is a really good one. So Josh Waitskin was a very high-level chess player. He actually got his BJJ black belt and some other things also afterwards. But the film Searching for Bobby Fischer was based on him.
The Art of Learning.
He wrote The Art of Learning. It's a really tremendous book. But, what it talks a lot about is how his parents kind of alleviated the pressure for him in these high pressure stakes, high stakes competitions. And they were able to alleviate the pressure on him, which is, as my job as a coach. And I think what a lot of parents do wrong is that they ramp up the pressure when a lot of these kids emotionally they don't know how to deal with it. So we gotta take it off them. And that's something his parents did well. And he kind of just goes through the whole process of, what it was like and kind of, man, his take is great. I really like him a lot.
Yeah. I think about that a lot. Caleb puts a ton of pressure on it. It's just like, puts it on himself. Yeah. So good. Well, we know you always have a bunch of reading recommendations, so I figured that'd be a good one.
I'm reading a really good one right now. I'm reading a book called the first book I read by the author was called The 48 Laws of Power, and now I'm reading a book called Mastery. Who is the author again? I'll tell you. It's awesome. 48 Laws of Power is Robert Greene. And then Green. The same author's Tom Green.
Bob Green. Oh yeah.
Bob Green.
I love
Tom Green.
Tom Green show was all time.
You never know what was going to happen.
That was a hilarious show. Yeah. I remember when I first saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, this is the funniest thing I've ever seen. Because I've never seen that kind of like the prank shows before. That was like it kind of really ushered the Tom Green show and then Jackass. Those were huge back in the old middle and high school days.
So awesome.
Okay. Next question. What's the worst stylistic matchup for each men freestyle world team? I assume he means Olympic team member. So
interesting.
It's often the best wrestler. So but I truly think that Aguyev is a terrible matchup for Gilman.
Wait, can we talk about that? I mean, maybe you guys can help me out here, but Micic got the number 1 seed above Aguyev, but he hasn't won a world title. I don't believe he won Europeans. How did he get the number 1 seed?
If you compete enough in the right tournaments, you don't have to be you don't have to
really
do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Aguev's been at the ranking series events. Micic just won the last ranking series tournament in Poland, and that was only a 3-man bracket. I mean, they were all 357-kilo guys, and so he gets the win. So that goes a long way. Yeah, it's just showing up at the right places.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, this is not seeding for the Olympics, but world rankings. There's a Canadian named Clay Pye who's ranked 4th in the world at 86 kilos. It's the guy that is,
not by us, right?
No.
Okay.
But the UWW formula, because he just showed up at the right places. It's the guy that David Taylor like choke slammed at Pan Am's, and this guy's 4th in the world. Like it's just how, showing up at the right places.
Yeah.
Dang.
Clay Pie.
Pie, baby.
Yeah, Micic will be the one at the Olympic Games. Holy cow.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. I mean, at the very least, he's opposite the guys who are 2 and 3, which are really, really, really high level. And so I mean that goes a long way to get, because if he can get an easy first round match, which obviously is not guaranteed, right? Because he could have Gilman first round because Gilman's unseeded.
Yes.
But if he can have if he could win the first 2 rounds, he's in semis, his chance of medaling are really, really good.
Yeah, you would have to assume he's in a good spot. Everyone knows Micic can wrestle. He's good at the international styles. Matchups will matter for sure, but yeah.
Kozak said the reason Micic is where he is, 5th in the world, won Poland, bronze at Euros, bronze at Pelicon. So that resume, most points.
I don't write the formula, but that seems weird because that's what you just listed there, David, doesn't seem like a number 1 seed to me. That he's 5th and then 3rd and then 3rd and then 3rd. It's like that doesn't feel like that should add up to the number 1 seed at the Olympics.
Well, here's the problem, and here's what UWW is trying to do. They're trying to incentivize wrestlers to wrestle. The best wrestlers do not wrestle.
Yes.
I don't know what they do.
Yes.
I would figure if your job is wrestling, you would wrestle. But as we're seeing even this week, sometimes wrestlers don't want to wrestle, don't want to do the things that are required to wrestle. And the Russians are probably the chief, I'll say, offenders of just wrestling when they want to wrestle, right? So that's the problem. And good for Micic for wrestling, for being a wrestler who wrestles.
And
but
so if what you want to do is separate the brackets correctly, then that makes it. I mean, I get it, right? It makes it really difficult if people refuse to show up. Because do you guys even have Micic ranked? I believe if you do, it's really low compared to some of the other guys in there.
I think he is ranked, but to your point, he's not high. He's no one thinks he's Aguyev's level, right? So it does give you a little bit of a disingenuous thing, but it's better than the random draw, I would say, which could have, which makes no effort to separate the best guys, and hopefully leads to eventually get a little more international buy-in.
Yeah.
But right now that's not the case. I feel like Team USA is bought in pretty well. We send a decent contingent to a lot of the tournaments. We don't skip many of the ranking tournaments. We didn't send our ones to Poland because we had to go to Pan Am's, right? We were using that.
Yeah.
So that's that. And good for. But yeah, the actual question that we are completely avoided answering to this point: who's the worst stylistic matchup? When you look at Aguyev, I think just athletically, this guy is just so insane, and
he's really good.
Very few guys get to his legs, and then when they do, he's a tough nut to crack. Beyond that,
I feel like he's kind of hard to push around too. Correct?
He's real low. He's compact, very fast. He can wrestle from in and out of the tie. Just going to be a tough man. He's like all the problems that Takahashi presents with like counter offense stuff. He has. Plus, very reliable offense, go-to offense. That Takahashi, I feel like, lacks to a degree, even though we're talking about like a world champion. Speaking of Takahashi, just made the Olympic team. He beat Higuchi in a one-match wrestle-off for the spot. And so, yeah, he'll be on there. Not a very entertaining match at all, and maybe some mildly questionable scores, but This is a guy that at
We're
least
questionable.
Japan can count on to make the weight and wrestle with. Higuchi seems like a total. Deep down, I feel like Higuchi is probably the better overall wrestler and the better threat to win Olympic gold at 57. But if there's that risk factor of making the weight and you don't beat Takahashi, then you don't get to go.
Yeah, it was a weird match. I mean, it really came down to kind of one position on the edge, and it looked like it could have been a step out before most of that action even happened. But if they ruled it grounded, then maybe it's maybe it was all good and in bounds. But it was bizarre.
Neither guy looks great to me.
No,
I wasn't like, ooh, Aguya better watch out.
Yeah, it also looked like a match in a completely empty gym with like. It looked like very weird and would have had a very strange vibe wrestling in there too. It was weird, not a great match.
Okay, so that's our matchup. We don't have a 65, unfortunately. 74. This is an interesting one because Sidakov is, without a doubt, the best wrestler not named Kyle Dake in the field, I think. But I think Chamizo is actually a tougher matchup for Kyle than Sidakov.
Why do you think? Okay, so I obviously we've seen Chamizo and Dake, so we kind of know what that looks like. Why do you think Sidakov? What about Sidakov's style do you think brings problems for Kyle Dake?
I think it brings less problems. I think Chamizo brings more problems than.
I'm sorry.
Sidakov.
Yeah, sorry. What do you think? Okay,
Yeah.
What do you think about Sidakov's style is easier for Kyle Dake?
I think one, he's a little less of a reluctant attacker than Chamizo, who picks his spots a little better. And I think the attacks he takes, I don't see him being able to finish the way he has on other guys. And I think Dake is going to be able to move him around in a way that he can't move or wasn't able to move Chamizo around. I think he's going to have an advantage in the tie-ups. And I think the attacks that Sidakov takes, I think he'll have a higher likelihood of countering than Chamizo. If you remember their match on July 25th, it was Chamizo who was able to score a leg attack takedown, which is like, basically a Bigfoot sighting against Kyle Dake.
It's true, isn't it?
Yes. So with that, I think that's the answer. But even though I do think Sidakov is probably a better wrestler, as we all know, styles make fights, and that's just my opinion.
Okay.
But I'd be curious for your thoughts.
I agree with you. I think Chamizo is the toughest matchup for Kyle Dake. And actually, kind of 57. Obviously, 57. Gilman's on his lead as Dake, but when I look down the list, I just feel like a lot of those guys really don't pose a huge problem for Kyle Dake. I'm like, oh, he's gonna smash him. He'd smash him. He'd smash him. It's just not gonna be all that competitive. Is kind of what I feel like.
Got it. Well, got word from, maybe we can pick up the rest of this question later.
Yeah.
But
pinning it, baby.
Our special guest, Evan Wick, has joined us. So let's stop what we're doing and check in with Evan. Evan, what's going on, man?
Nothing. I'm here in a camp in Wyoming, in Sheridan, Wyoming. Just hanging out, waiting for you guys.
Heck yeah. Well, sorry. I hope we didn't keep you waiting too long. Super appreciative that you would come on and share this, share your decision with the wrestling community. I guess first question is, how is this overall, before you put it on wax, how has the process been of, you made the decision to transfer and the recruiting process, just how has that gone for you?
The recruiting process has been awesome for me. I had, I think, two of the best visits I've ever had. Penn State was a phenomenal visit. I love those coaches. I love the guys. Cal Poly's been an awesome visit. I love those coaches. I love those guys. And, it'd be great to be back in California and be great to be at a program like Penn State. So, I've just been super happy and honored that I have these opportunities in front of me.
Yeah. And maybe going back a little bit, when did you know, hey, I think I need to look elsewhere for my last year of eligibility, and what kind of went into that decision?
I think this whole Olympic redshirt year, just kind of doing things on my own, I knew I needed a change in what I was doing. I'd been kind of thinking that I needed to get a change of scenery. I've been there for 5 years at Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. I think the coaches there have their way of doing things, which is great. They're having incredible success there, but it's just, I think, a different idea about how to get better at wrestling than I have. So I knew it was a time for a change for me.
And you wrestled at the Olympic trials. I thought you wrestled really, really well. What was your thoughts on your performance there?
I thought I wrestled the best I've ever wrestled.
Yeah.
I mean, I was very prepared. I trained a lot with my high school coach, John Azevedo, that week leading up to that. Just very relaxed. I hadn't felt that way in a very long time. I think the college season, wrestling in NCAAs and everything, I just kind of got ahead of myself and was really nervous and held myself back the last 2 years. And then I really kind of started to open up. Had some not so great matches that year, but I just felt very positive and optimistic the whole year, which wasn't how I had felt in a very long time. And I think that was something else that contributed to me knowing that I needed a change of scenery.
When I think about your wrestling style, I've always thought funky, scrambler, kind of a little unorthodox, which you would think in your top wrestling in folk style is amazing. So it's been, I don't want to say surprising, but it seems like freestyle might be your best style. Would you say that's the case, or what do you think?
I'm just as confused as you, man. I think everyone would label me a folk style wrestler, but I had incredible success this year in freestyle, and I enjoy wrestling neutral a lot more. When I wrestle guys in practice, I don't take them down and ride them out for 20 minutes. I take them down and try to cut them, and I like trying to use my skills in neutral wrestling. I think that's the funnest part. I don't know, maybe Ben disagrees. I saw his back and forth garbage. But
no, I do. Listen, I love all wrestling, all of it.
Yeah. I mean, I might be a proponent for making college wrestling freestyle. I don't know what anyone else here thinks.
Oh man,
I'm in.
Oh man,
I'm in.
These step out shenanigans.
That's coming from a guy who probably rides guys out for at least 3 minutes each match. So.
Yeah, you're Ben proposed what was it called, insta death, or what was it?
Insta death. Evan would have won a lot of matches by insta death. That had some steam behind it for a while. We even talked about that in a minute. If you ride them for what,
3 minutes,
3 or 3.5 minutes, then the match is over and they die.
Yeah, they die. They can't wrestle ever again.
That would have suited me well. I would have supported that. Even though I probably wouldn't have liked to watch it, but.
Well, hey, Evan, we can talk some more, but I think people are excited to hear your decision. So I'll just kick it to you. Let us know where you're going to be wrestling next year.
Next year, after 5 years at the University of Wisconsin, I'm heading back to California. I'm going to go to Cal Poly.
Okay.
Wow.
Cal Poly. So came down to, if you don't know, and you already said it, came down to Cal Poly and Penn State. What went into this decision? Why not Penn State? Why Cal Poly? What kind of variables were you weighing?
I really just wanted to go to a place where I knew I was going to be happy. The times that I've made the most progress in wrestling and I wrestle my best is when I'm happy. Not necessarily when I've had the greatest resources, which I think both schools have incredible resources. But I really wanted to focus in on where I was happy, and I felt incredibly happy at Cal Poly during my visit. I'm close to my family. My little brother is going to be there. Bernie Truax is going to be a great partner for me, and I just love that team a lot. And I had an incredible experience at both schools, and they have great guys, great everything. There wasn't one thing bad about either school. I can't say anything bad about either school, but I just felt like I was the happiest at Cal Poly, and I wanted to prioritize that in these next few years. And I got great people surrounding me there. Like I said, my little brother, my high school coach lives right down the road, so he'll be able to help me out. And he helped me out over this whole Olympic year. So it was really kind of a no-brainer at the end of the day.
Well, awesome, and congrats on that decision. You mentioned the next couple of years, and I think that's something that I'm curious to learn about, because you have 1 year of eligibility remaining, unless the NCAA goes crazy again and says everyone just gets as many years as you want, which let's wait and see. But what is kind of the next thing for you? Are you going to stay in wrestling? Do you want to be a coach? Do you want to just wrestle at the senior level? What is next for you after Cal Poly?
At least for this next cycle, I'm going to be wrestling to win an Olympic title.
Sick.
That's my goal. That's always been my goal. But as far as after that, I think I'm either going to be a D1 coach or open up a club. You know, I've been coaching at AWA, which has been an incredible experience for me, and it's really opened my eyes to how awesome being a club coach is. So that would be my next step.
Well, while this is something
he's
I
getting
do,
rave reviews too, Christian. Everyone really likes him. Although the 5 through 9-year-old, he's kind of a little mean to them, so he's got to work on his patience with the really little bitty guys. This one kid kept trying to eat Doritos during his class, and he got too mad.
Oh, my God.
Or was it Pringles? It was Pringles, wasn't it?
Pringles. He'd just sneak off when I was coaching stuff, and he would eat Pringles and then come back. And then he'd be doing headstands while we were doing.
my brother was in town this week, and we had Pringles around. He couldn't resist them either, and he's like 30 years old. So, you know what? Cut the 5-year-old some slack, Evan. But while we're on the topic of club coaching in your future, I think personally the best decision for you would be to come to Austin, Texas, and finally open this AWA branch and coach all our children to wrestling glory. I think that would be the best use of your time.
Seems like most Californians move into Texas anyway. So
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Yeah,
We've
true.
got the pipeline. They love it here. It's a little hot, but I think you'd learn to enjoy it. But yeah, that's one of my pitches. About once a week, I try to convince Ben to open a AWA down here. So, anyways, back on topic. Very excited to hear about your plans. And what did you see? How closely were you following Cal Poly last year? Because they really kind of had a fantastic year, and Bernie Truax was a revelation for us this following season, or this last season.
Oh, I was following them a lot. I trained with Truax throughout COVID, so he's an incredible guy. I'm familiar with his wrestling, and I knew during COVID that kid was going to make some noise this year. He did phenomenally. When we were training over the summer, I really just saw kind of what Cal Poly was doing and how they were treating him and their athletes, and it was just super beneficial for him, man. And I don't think he was that great last year, but this year he freaking tore it up. And then, you know, that Lawrence Saenz this summer beat a couple All-Americans, took second at U23s. He's going to be a hammer, man. And then I think we could really have 3-4 All-Americans. I think it'd be an incredible year for us, and hopefully we can outdo that as well. You know?
Yeah, and looking at 165, it's going to look a little different this year with Griffith likely going up. Apparently, Mekhi Lewis is going to be moving up. Thoughts on the landscape of what 65 is going to look like? You know, obviously your old rival Alex Marinelli is still around. What are your thoughts on 65 going into next year?
I think it poses a lot of new challenges. I know there's a lot of young people coming up making some noise. There's a lot of older guys who are just starting to hit their stride. You know, Wenzel made it to the finals, which was surprising. That guy looked awesome. And then Ethan Smith looked incredible at NCAAs. So, I mean, it's going to be challenging, man, but I'm excited for this next year. Being at Cal Poly is going to be great. I think I'll make a lot of progress, and I'm not really feeling too nervous about it like I did in the past. You know, like usually when I would see a lot of success out of other guys, it'd make me nervous. But I'm just getting excited seeing a lot of these underclassmen do really well, and I'm excited to compete with them.
All right, now there's a possibility that there's the ultimate Ben Askren match of the century where he just has to pull all his hair out. Keegan O'Toole and Evan Wick. Have you ever got to train with him? I'm sure you have during your time at Wisconsin. Have you ever rolled around with Keegan O'Toole?
We went probably 2 weeks ago when we sparred.
Oh my gosh!
I think he's got an injury here. I think he's just taking a break, so we just kind of kept it cool, didn't go too hard. But he's slick, man. He's impressive. I think he's only been 19, 20.
He may have turned 20 now. This is last year for UWW juniors. So yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, but I mean, he feels incredible, man. I'm excited to compete with him if we get the chance. But he's someone who I've had my eye on, obviously from Wisconsin for the last 2 years, I knew that kid was going to be successful. And every time he came into the RTC, even when he was little, everyone was saying he's going to be tough as nails when he gets to college. So, and I knew that, but scrapping with him really confirmed that.
So it sounds like it was a very contentious practice. You had to be separated, and then you said, "See you in Detroit," and that was it. Wow,
and then he slapped him.
Then you slapped him. Holy cow! What an event. Yeah, that could be an incredible matchup. 165 looks great. And you got Travis Whitlake. You mentioned Ethan Smith. So, man, excited for the upcoming thing. What's kind of next for you?
I have a question,
go ahead.
actually, Christian. You know, and I don't know why I've never asked you about this, Evan. Are you planning on doing the World Team Trials for the fall? Obviously, 74 spot may not be available. Maybe it's 79, or is it just going to be straight into folk style mode?
74 spot might not be available.
Well, if Dake wins a medal, there's no wrestle off for that spot for the 2021 Worlds.
Oh shoot!
You know what I'm saying?
Either way, I'm saying at that tournament, I'm gonna go freestyle there.
Okay.
But yeah, if I can wrestle 74 kg, the cut won't be too great, but I think I'll compete my best there. But I've competed like this whole year at 79 kg. Really, I think I've weighed in a couple times at like 176 or something. So.
Right.
That's another interesting thing. A lot of people, you are around 6'7" or so, ballpark it. Everyone's like, how does he make 65? But then I'll hear like, actually, he doesn't have to cut a ton to 165. But I haven't heard that from you. Is that the case? Is the cut not that big of a deal for you at 65?
No, not really. The funny thing is, usually in the beginning of the season, I'm like 170, and then as the season goes on, I get bigger. Right? Like I think 2 years ago for NCAA's, I was weighing like close to 176 for NCAA's. So it kind of was a pain in the butt at the end. But during COVID, no one was wrestling. I was just lifting with my dad in our backyard and just lifting and eating. I think my dad makes like 4 meals in between 7 o'clock p.m. and midnight. So I was just eating like crazy, and I got up to 189.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, so that was the biggest I've ever been by far. I don't think I ever cracked 180. And I was 189, and then must have been like 2 weeks later, I went to Wisconsin for 2 weeks, just training, and obviously I couldn't eat as much because I had to pay for my own food. And within 2 weeks, after a practice, I was down to 171.
Oh my gosh! So no more thick wick there at 189.
Ooh, thick wick.
Yeah.
If I had to go up, though,
yeah,
could go up. I don't want to start any rumors here, but that could be a possibility. I don't know.
Oh, really? Okay, well, let's just start the rumor right now. But Bernie there at 174, right? So would y'all switch, or would he go up, or?
I've talked to him. He said that he'd like to go up. Those guys don't move so good at the upper weights.
Oh my gosh. So it could be a 74-84 back to back, not 65-74. Would you say that decision has or hasn't been made?
It hasn't been made, but the talks.
All right. Ooh.
How often have you gone with Kemp? How does he feel?
I have never gone with Kemp except in our matches.
Okay.
I went twice with him. My third year in college, I wrestled him at that. It was on like a ship with that Battle of the Midway.
Yep.
I told Fresno there. I beat him pretty good there, but then literally I think at Midlands, I think we had like a 5 or 6-1 match. So he's tough, man. But I think he'll fit in the lineup well.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you guys are up, then he's 65. That's interesting.
Okay. Yeah. Well, something for us to ponder and consider. So what is next for you, Evan? You're in Wyoming now. That sounds awesome.
Bighorn Mountains, baby. Yep,
this guy knows the way. He used to live in Wyoming till we poached him. So what is kind of next for you throughout the summer and beyond?
Right now, I got a lot of camps, but training with Ben at AWA has been awesome. We got like some of the best guys from Wisconsin ever training there right now, and that's just been an incredible opportunity. So training there, and then I'll be at that World Team Trials trying to make that weight. But yeah, just for now, camps, make some money, and then start training again. Nice.
Well, it sounds like you would be a great counselor to pick up, based on Ben's glowing reviews. As long as there's no 5-year-old Pringle lovers, you.
We got.
No one really wants to coach the 5-year-olds. You got to have a high amount of patience for them, and so that's kind of for the older guys to do. I don't really put the college kids on that task too often. Tristan has a high amount of patience. Tristan really does.
Really?
Oh my God, Tristan is incredible. Like
So
the kid that was eating Pringles, he loves that kid because he's so out of it. Like, I don't know what his deal is. But I think you have to go into those practices just with like the expectation that this is daycare. This is just. My problem. I have the expectation of teaching like real high level technique, and then they don't get it.
You should just tell them they'll never be an Olympic champion with their mindset, and that'll set them straight.
I tried that.
So funny.
Dude, Pringles on the mat is man, that's wild.
Man, I didn't know AWA is so Pringle friendly, Ben.
Well, so I actually at my academy we have the biggest 5 to 9-year-old program. I separated my 5-year-olds out all by themselves, so they can't distract anybody else. It's just 5-year-olds, and you can't get them to do anything right. Like we have this one game where we go on the crash pads and you got to push the other kids out the crash pads. There's only one rule. The only rule is you can't stand up. They stand up. They can't even listen. There's only one rule. They can't even listen to the one rule. It's like, come on, dude. There's only one rule.
Yeah. And you kind of underestimate that they have a limited vocabulary. So I'm trying to like speak to these kids, but they're so young that they don't understand as many words as I do. Like I'm trying to tell these kids, get in your stance, and they don't know what stance means. So I'm just screaming at them to get in their stance, and then I find out they don't know what stance means.
Oh, that's great, man. Ben set you up bad on this one. He knows that's not a good fit. Come on, Ben. That's a cold set.
I think it was only one time, maybe twice.
Yeah, it was only one time, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm done. I'm not doing that again."
My brother's an elementary teacher. He said he's like kindergartners are just like bugs. They're just going wherever they just see something and they're off towards that. It's very hard to rein them in. So I can't imagine a wrestling practice. Well, Evan, I again want to reiterate, very appreciative of you coming on. Anything else you want to discuss or bring up before we let you go and get back to your wilderness adventure?
No, I'm good, man. Thank you guys for having me on. This is incredible. I love being on Flow. I love you guys.
Well, thanks
for all the
man.
support.
Absolutely appreciate you saying that. Looking forward to following your next chapter. Congratulations on heading back home, and we can't wait to see what you and Cal Poly do next year.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you,
Thanks
guys.
a lot, Evan. Have a good day.
See you.
All right, there it is. Evan Wick, going to be a Mustang, Cal Poly. So for all those in the chat that were so sure, A.D. Williams, thought you knew. That's why you just get it from the horse's mouth. Don't read the internet speculation.
Can I tell you one more story, Christian? Since we talked about my ninjas classes, the 5-year-olds can't do nothing. There's this one kid. He was newer this spring. And we play this game, Spiders. It's a very common wrestling game where, they got to make it one wall to the other, and the kids are trying to tackle them, and they're on their knees.
Classic, yeah.
Classic. His one kid's new, and he starts doing this. Put his bull horns up, and he's got this look, and oh my God, I just can't stop laughing at him. And then I'm like, dude, you gotta stop. You can't pull the bull. If you put the bull horns up, you're out of the game now. This has got to be done. And he goes, and he's sweaty. He goes, I got my bull horns up imaginarily. And I'm like, shit, he got me. Dang it, the guy got me. So then yesterday he showed up at our youth camp yesterday, and I'm showing moves on Josh Otto. Josh Otto's a pretty strong looking guy, and I said, so I can't remember what I said, and he goes, you might as well call him Toothpick Arms. And then all the little kids started calling him Coach Toothpick.
What? So
I couldn't stop laughing. Yeah, the little kid got the other kids to start calling him Coach Toothpick.
This kid's going to be a legend.
Yes.
You better keep him
Seriously.
under your AWA umbrella.
Oh, it was so hilarious.
What an alpha. He's telling you, an Olympian and his coach, he won't even put his bull horns away. He's going to use them imaginarily. Then he proceeds to dunk on your coach and call him Toothpick Arms.
And they got the whole class to call him Coach Toothpick.
So he's a leader. He's an alpha leader.
Yes.
It can go one of two ways. And, it's up to you to mold him because you got great potential already. How old is this
Oh my
kid? Is he
God.
a 5-year-old?
Oh no, he's not a 5-year. He's like, I don't know. He's probably eight. I would guess. I'm not sure. Somewhere on there. Oh God, I was laughing so hard.
That's hysterical. Little
And
kids
Josh didn't know what to do because he wanted to get tough on him and be like, I'll crush you. But it is like, nah, Josh can't do that. He's only 8 years old. You can't go crush him.
If you tough
Call
talking
me
an 8-year-old,
toothpick one more time.
yeah, he crossed the line, but there's nothing you can do about it. You just got to take that. You got to take your toothpick arms. You got to deal with it.
Yes.
He's gonna start ripping out some curls before all the sessions now. He has no choice.
Oh,
Okay,
seriously.
so we talked about the biggest threats to Gilman and Kyle Dake. So we determined that Aguyev and Chamizo were the biggest threats to those two, although all due respect to Sidikov, who is, maybe you could say he's the guy to beat at the Olympic Games, though we all have our opinions. Then we move up to 86 kilograms, where we
Dude.
have David Morris Taylor. Who do you can say for this one?
Well, I got some questions first.
Inquire.
So you guys have all the Olympic qualifiers ranked on your ranking sheet, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these dudes are bums.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I know they're in the Olympics, but holy moly, I might be able to come out of retirement and beat Algeria, Nigeria, Peru, and Colombia. I mean, how did all these dudes make the Olympics? Like at 65, Jordan Oliver can't freaking qualify, and he's damn amazing. And then, I'm looking Colombia, Switzerland, even the Chinese guy. I've seen him. I don't think he's Zhu Lin. I don't think he's very good.
I'll say it right now. You versus Deepak Punya, I'm saying it's a match. That's a couple of dad bods throwing
I'm not
down.
going that high. I'm not going that high with myself. But, I think I could take out Algeria. That's what I'm saying right now.
Yeah.
I mean, the Continentals.
So what happened with this weight class?
The Continentals, so Africa and Oceania, you're going to get guys in that.
2.
Yeah. So that's, that's what's going on there. Pan Ams, that's Colombia, Peru. Reich
So
moved
how did Cuba not get in at this weight class?
Good question. Why did they not?
Yeah, where's Torreblanca?
Oh, because David Taylor wrestled Torreblanca on the front side, like before the finals
That's
at
right.
Pan Ams. So David Taylor blocked.
And there's no
Cuba.
wrestlebacks.
There's no wrestlebacks. So David Taylor blocked Torreblanca from qualifying.
And then he didn't, I guess, I don't know if he went to the last chance or what.
Yeah.
Cuba's kind of been MIA.
Wait, so how did the other one, Colombia or Peru, how did the other one of those, whoever didn't qualify at Continentals, how did the other one get in?
That's a good question. I don't know for sure the answer there, but I do remember 2019 Worlds. The bracket was about as imbalanced as it could possibly be, and
Yeah,
so
everyone's on the bottom.
Yeah, so 3 guys got in from the top side. That Reichmuth, the guy from Switzerland, was one of those.
Yes.
I wonder if if one of the Pan Am guys was up there as well. Yeah, I mean, it's just that kind of combination of events made for a really bizarre weight. You get that's another one of the byproducts of those imbalanced brackets. It's not just who gets on the podium, but it's literally who gets one of 16 spots at the Olympic Games. It's wild.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm trying to find
The brackets from 2016. Yeah, because obviously you have
so the Peru was the finalist opposite of Taylor. He beat Angus Arthur of Jamaica to make said final.
Oh my gosh.
So
Colombia was Colombia a different guy than Izquierdo? I feel like it might have been in 2019.
I'm looking
maybe
now.
he made on that top side. With
While you're looking for that, Kozak just told me Torreblanca was that last chance. He lost to Makoev. So Makoev has like the weirdest good wins ever. He is not that good. He'll go to like the Bill Farrell and just get worked by middle of the ladder US guys. But then he beat Jaden Cox in the world semifinals, which is insane. And then he beat
that's so insane.
So insane. And then he beat Torreblanca at last chance to punch his ticket. So dude gets he gets the wins at the right time, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like
Evidently.
Shabanow is so old. Also,
I don't think he's super old. He's
are you sure? I feel like he was around when I was around.
He wrestled Burroughs
Oh.
in like 2011 or 12, right?
Yeah, like I think he's been around for a very long time.
hey, the Colombian made the 5th place match.
At
It's
Worlds.
Cuerdo.
The third
he-
place match, so he lost and he took 5th.
Yeah, sorry, he took 5th.
Who did he actually beat
He beat
on the front side?
So on the front side, he beat GUM Gum.
Guam.
Guam.
Then he lost. He beat Peru, lost to Deepak Punya. Then he beat Kazakhstan's Davlum Bayev.
Oh, this was the Kazakhstan year.
Yes.
See,
Oh,
but he beat him, and then he lost to Reichmuth,
got it.
The Swissman.
the Swissman, the Swiss Army knife.
Hey, did you realize Shabanow? He is pretty old, and I don't know how he wrestled Burroughs, but he wrestled Jared Freyer in the Olympics in 2012,
Oh wow.
and then must have bumped up after that.
He's the dirt. He's the guy who was really dirty against Jordan in 2013.
Yes.
Actually got DQ'd.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then he's beaten. Then he went up to. He went down to.
No, so he started at 66, and now he's all the way up at 89 or 86. That's a freaking gigantic jump.
Yeah.
He's the one that I'm pretty sure he wrestled Marable.
That sounds right. Yeah,
He did.
I think you're correct. Yes.
At 70. So he went from 74 down to 70. Now he's 86. This man stay
Yeah.
growing.
Yes. Seriously.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Okay, wait.
I mean, okay, so who's challenging David Taylor? I don't see anyone who's close besides Hassan Yazdani.
Yeah.
He's the one.
mean-
he's still the threat because
That's it.
he's the one that can score on him. Now,
I don't feel like Knifenoff is even close.
I don't either.
Yeah. I
It's
think
not even a
David
match.
I think David has figured out. Yeah, I think he figures Yazdani out a little more each time he wrestles him. I mean, because he was so close to getting cautioned out at a point, and Iran is so good at that. You saw Zare do that to Gwiz the other day, and and you're like, man, if you get the wrong combinations of officials, and you got to bounce a couple times, all of a sudden you could be staring down the barrel of a couple cautions.
Yes.
So that's probably the biggest threat. But I think DT is he's solving that puzzle a little more every time.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that totally. I mean, it's one of those things where too, David obviously is very good and was wrestling for a long time. And that first time he wrestled Yazdani, kind of what I guess probably happened is like, holy moly, I never felt anyone this strong before. Like the way he was moving him, like no one moved David Taylor like that ever, right? I've watched a lot of David Taylor matches. That's never happened. And then that second time when you have that ability to say, okay, I remember what this felt like. And now I can kind of plan my strategy around that because, if you said to David going into the first Yazdani, this dude's going to throw you around, he would have said, yeah, right. Like that's not going to happen. And then, so when it actually happens and he feels that, then he can kind of adjust for the next time and give it a better look.
Yes. So I still think he's the biggest threat because of what he's shown he can do. I don't think he's got the savviness in the number of positions you have to be savvy in to beat someone like David Taylor. And we'll see about the tank. He is gassed out just horrifically on 2 occasions against David.
It's weird because he gasses other people, though, which is so strange.
Yes. So we'll see if that maintains. But Yazdani Tarati, while he is an underdog, is the biggest threat to David, in my opinion. 97, I think, goes without saying.
Yeah.
That he's the biggest threat to all wrestlers. Abdul Rashid Sajalayev. He's
97 is deep though compared to 86. I mean, there's way more.
Oh yeah,
and there's way more threats. I mean, when you just look through his bracket, like even down Sharif off at 7 is a threat. I don't know if you'd go much lower than that. I don't know if you probably wouldn't go all the way down to Solace. I'm guessing, but the top guys, there's some really tough dudes in there.
Solace has given Snyder some matches, I think.
Yeah, he has.
He had a big lead at Beat the Streets, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And then Snyder
he's up 8-3.
He had to run him down.
Snyder him down.
Saritov, he's had some great results, I'm pretty sure. can't remember what his accomplishments are, but I'm pretty sure he's placed really high. Russian board, yeah, he's Olympic bronze medalist in 16. So he's not bad. I'm pretty sure Kyle wrestled him, and I think he's the guy that is like the overhook guy that Kyle like wrapped around his body and like boom, planted him through the earth. He's 35 also now.
Ibrahimov is good.
Yeah. It's a much deeper weight than 97. But the biggest threat, we all know, he's the boogeyman. Big scary man from Dagestan who's on a trajectory to be an all-time. I mean, if he hung it up right now, it's one of the greatest runs in wrestling history. There's one loss in
Kyle, yes.
7 years.
Or Sedgelayev, sorry.
Sedgelayev, yeah. And then this was the one that I had the hardest time with, Ben, determining the 125 biggest threat. I think that
I'm trying to determine why you guys got Gable laid out at number 7.
Well, who's he beaten internationally other than Gwizdowski?
I feel like this Chinese guy, I feel like he's gonna kill him. I've watched him plenty of times.
Well, that's not a ranking. That's a prediction.
Damn it, I love predictions though.
Yeah, well, yes, I like them as well, but there's sort of tough to rank him above those guys.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's because the top 3, Akgul, Petrosvili, and Zari, all very good. Man, as good as Gable looked at trials, though, I genuinely could see him winning. I also don't know who I feel. I mean, I guess I'd say Akgul, but yeah, I mean, all 3 of those guys are really good.
So there's different reasons they scare me. So Zare is scary in that could he just move Gable around, right? That would be one. You have to think of, okay, how are people going to beat Gable? Could he out physical him in a way that he hasn't experienced and hand fight him in a way he hasn't felt and move him around?
Who in America is really big? Like I guess Dom would probably be the big guy that moves people around, and I don't feel like Dom was able to move him around at all, right?
I think comparing Dom to, I mean, Dom doesn't caution out Nick Gwizdowski.
Yeah.
In the you know.
Right. We haven't seen Gable against someone who is like that.
That's what I would say. I would say we haven't seen a comparable guy.
Yeah.
Maybe Adam Kuhn.
Yeah.
Even Kuhn though. Mike talks a lot about that the way that the Iranian style, the way those guys use that underhook and teeing off that back foot, and just the way, I mean, the pressure they get and the way they're able to move guys. It's just it seems like until you felt it, it's not something that you can really prepare for 100% of the way.
I think there is a learning
That's kind of
curve.
how we were saying about David.
Yeah.
Same thing.
So Zare's interesting in that way, although I just think Gable has a style that transcends a lot of problems you can throw at him.
Mm-hmm.
Petriashvili is
because one of the things he does, I mean, better than any is he moves. So for a heavyweight, he moves so well, and so these guys think, hey, this guy's gonna be standing in front of me. Boom, I can bulldoze him. He ain't gonna be standing in front of you. He's gonna be moving, and then if you run that risk of coming at him too hard and too fast, then boom, he's on your leg. He has quite a few good offensive options.
Yes, I agree with that. So Zare is interesting for that option because he can move him around. Now remember, Mason Paris has pinned Zare. Gable Stevenson is not lost to Mason Paris, so that is a notable result. Petriashvili is pretty well-rounded. He is a large person, very big, pretty athletic, but not super athletic. Taha, to me, is the best athlete, not named Gable, in this field, which makes him, to me, an interesting proposition because could he, one single leg to his lace could potentially end the match. But are Taha's best days behind him? Certainly Gable's best days are in front of him. So yes. I'll conclude that Taha is the biggest threat, but I don't know how I weigh those big 3. I do think it is those big 3 of Akgul, Petriashvili, and Zare are the biggest threats.
I think I'm thinking about Zare a lot. And I mean, in most matches, Zare is the more powerful guy on the mat. And I think the thing Gable can probably learn from watching the Mason Paris matches, Paris made himself more powerful than Zare. There were 3 exchanges with the underhook. Zare walked him to the edge. Paris was able to clamp down on that underhook and circle and get a step out. Then Zare did push him out. And then the third time, Mason Paris just clamped down and dumped him. And so I think Gable, I would say, is as powerful or more powerful than Mason Paris. So I don't know. I feel like he's got a good shot there. And if you can solve for the one area where Zarya is really, really good, then I think he becomes less of a threat. So I kind of think it's Akgul.
All right. I wouldn't disagree with that. All right. It's 9:45 deep in the heart of Texas. Reminder, show today, show tomorrow, no show Thursday. So prepare yourself. John Kozak will be sitting in this seat tomorrow. Ben Askren will be here. I will be here. We will have things to talk about. I promise. What they will be? TDB.
TDB.
Thanks so much for listening. Thanks to Ben. Thank you, Evan Wick, for coming on. That was awesome. Going to Cal Poly. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great day. See you Wednesday. Goodbye.